another interesting episode of Labor Lens, where we bring to you updates information in the world of work and pay. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's episode of the program, we will be discussing about the 40th anniversary of Pengassan. But first, let's take the news. We will be right back. With the increase of road accidents in the nation, which oftentimes involves petroleum tankers, the PTD branch of NUPENG held a national safety training for tanker drivers on steering. The drivers were lectured on road signs and the need to obey them. They were also admonished to be law-abiding by staying away from hard drugs and alcohol.
There's a kind of cargo that if you carry it and if there's any crash, then you go there to go and carry it again. You look for a crane or whatever, or forklift to carry it again and you go. But in the area of petroleum product, reverse is the case. You know, the petroleum product is a highly inflammable product and anything can happen if there's any crashes.
The national president of NUPENG urged relevant authorities to ensure that major access roads are motorable.
Coming to think about tanker driving, which actually involve, flammable products, I think it's very necessary that this kind of training, is put in place. It's my belief that after this training, we have not just safer roads, but also drivers that also know their onions and have to drive by, because their roles on the road is not only for them. It's not just to save themselves, but also save other road users. So it's about lives generally.
In an interview with the organizing secretary of the training, he announced that 60 tanker drivers have been blacklisted from the union due to criminal activities.
They were being blacklisted for many offenses, ranging from finalization, rice and beans, that is adulteration of products, and also the attitude of selling another person's products and set ablaze the tankers they are driving in order to avert justice. So these are the kind of malpractices ranging from one to the other. That this kind of bad elements, we don't want them in our system. They can pollute the genuine and very decent drivers.
The petroleum tanker drivers branch of NUPENG at the training says they are always ready to work with the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure an accident-free road.
While some staff of the National Health Insurance Scheme resumed their duties inside the NHI's building, various unions continued their protest against the Executive Secretary, Usman Yusuf, outside the gates of the Commission. The unions have embarked on this protest for the past 4 days, and they insist that they will not stand down until the embattled NHI's boss leaves his office and paves the way for investigations into allegations of misappropriation.
We therefore make bold to place this request that let this investigative panel, let them finish their work. Yes. If at the end of the exercise, if Professor Yusuf Usman was not found culpable, after all, he has been restated once, he can still be restated again. But he who must come to equity must come with one clean hands.
I am not afraid to say that Yusuf has the backing of the government. If the government claims that they don't know about the actions of Yusuf, let them come out and tell Yusuf to leave NHIS. If you don't have anything to hide, why are you afraid to leave your office? Exactly. Why are you afraid to leave your office for investigation? Yeah. To suspend somebody is not to sack you. Exactly. They have asked you to step aside so that they can investigate you.
Meanwhile, the Association of the Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has called on President Muhammad Buhari to relieve Professor Yusuf of his appointment to avoid sending the wrong signal to the outside world as regards the anti-corruption war of the administration. According to the labor leaders, Professor Yusuf was suspended last week by the Governing Council of the scheme for alleged financial scams, including cutting away of office equipment of the NHIS to his residents, padding of the budget of the scheme, an attempt to illegally invest 30 billion naira in federal government's bonds, and placing his relatives in strategic offices for purposes of siphoning funds through dubious contract awards. Other infractions are alleged inflation of biometric capturing machines, punitive posting out of union officials from the NHI's headquarters to create fertile grounds for his financial malpractices, insubordination and contempt for the Minister of Health and members of the Governing Council of the scheme.
This man, Professor Usman Yusuf, is not a character that can work with human beings. I don't know, he's very corrupt, and he believes in this primordial sentiments. At any given opportunity, he whips ethnic sentiment. At every given opportunity, he whips religious sentiment. And all these things are being done to just cover his tracks. As far as we are concerned, Yusuf is gone, and government should sack him in the interest of industrial peace, in the NHIS in particular, and in the public service in general.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, held its 40th anniversary in Abuja with the theme Dynamic Labor Leadership, Fueling the Economy. The event was well attended by oil and gas executives and celebrated the union's achievement, which can be seen in the passage of the Local Content Bill, restoring of normalcy to the downstream sector, the new joint venture cash call framework, and the work that has been done on the Petroleum Industry Bill. President Muhammadu Buhari was represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku, who commended PENGASSAN for its understanding when the pump price of fuel was increased and for the current easy distribution of fuel across the country.
As the pioneer labor union in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, PENGASSAN has played a historical role as a stabilizing force required to promote national development, particularly in this industry. We are grateful for the synergy and cohesion between the management of the NNPC and the association in working together on many occasions to achieve great goals and strides. PENGASSAN has shown exceptional character in the undertakings of members of staff in this industry. We acknowledge your resilience and support that enabled the restoration of normalcy to the downstream sector in 2016. We also acknowledge your solidarity and cooperation in achieving the giant stride of emplacing the new joint venture cash call framework, and indeed your sacrifice in many other ways, including the NNPC reforms. We commend the association for leading advocacy for local content and indigenous participation in the nation's hydrocarbon business, as well as regulation of contract and casual employment, amongst others.
Going forward, I would love to see a PENGASSAN that will continue to show more interest, engage, and further collaborate with management by providing us with brilliant ideas that will guarantee the profitability and sustainability of our business and operations. This is because once the business is sustained, everything, including, of course, staff welfare, will automatically fall in place. This we have displayed and we sustain.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, delivered a paper on how dynamic labor leadership fuels the economy. He said government was losing more than $104 billion for refusing to implement the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act.
PENGASSAN and NUPENG, Nigerian Labour Congress, you must assist. That we must go to the root of this criminality at the international level so that we can recover money and put the money in the federation account so that our people can enjoy the benefits of the oil and gas industry. Section 5 of the Offshore and Inland Sharing Contract Act provides that for 15 years, no royalty shall be recovered, can be collected from oil and gas mined from below 1,000 meters depth. At that time, the purpose was because of the level of technology, which was not highly developed. So let us allow this oil company, oil majors, to mine without paying royalty. That law expired in 2014. Again, I have begged the government in vain to now collect all our royalties since 2014 to the moment. Not a dime has been collected. Pengassin, you have your job cut out for you.
3 Nigerians were given awards for acts of bravery. Abdullahi Abubakar saved about 300 Christians from being killed in Plateau State. Late Joseph Blackson's widow collected her husband's award. He died after saving 13 people from drowning in a creek in Rivers State. The proprietor of Jones Secondary School in Nasarawa State offered scholarships to indigent indigenes of the host community. With the trend of contract employment and casual labor in the oil and gas sector continuing, the keynote speaker urged workers not to leave the fight against corruption only to the government.
Every generation has its own challenges. When I was the president, we had a series of challenges. But now this generation also has its own challenges, but it also has a reservoir of solutions, which is digital age, easy access to information, easy access for you to build coalition, easy access for you to mobilize, and easy access for you to access resource so that you are able to confront whatever challenges that will come. And the challenges that are going to come looking forward is going to be more from the government angle.
We are in a challenging society to start with. It's not easy in the country. Nobody will tell you in the country that yes, so it's having it good. Even if you're having good relations and those around it are also having it too good. So the challenge we're having is to try to see what we can do to improve the welfare and conditional service of not only our members, but the society at large.
The oil and gas sector accounts for over 65% of Nigerians' GDP. And what that tells us easily is that it is the lifeline, the life wire of the Nigerian economy. And therefore you need a strong trade union, to act as that third force, to act as that voice of reason, to whip things into line. We played that role.
We've been collaborating with the oil and gas industry as a responsible corporate organization, an association of senior and middle management staff of oil and gas industry. We've adopted the continuous engagement strategy, where we open our minds to discussions, not just to shut the industry, but create opportunities where we can discuss the issues on the table, iron out our differences, and still move on.
On the Profile interview segment this week, I will be speaking with Comrade Francis Olabode Johnson, the president of Pengassan. He will be sharing with us what oil workers should expect from Pengassan in the next few years. Take a listen. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again. Pengassan is celebrating its 40th anniversary, as we know. Can you give us a brief summary of the struggles that Pengassan has been able to win for the past 40 years?
Yeah, before I do that, first, as a Christian, I need to give God the glory. Because He got to a point, all the working committee and organized committee and central committee are very apprehensive for whether we need to ship this thing, it's going to be successful. But to the glory of God, everything went perfectly. And before also going on, I also need to appreciate sincerely, honestly, on behalf of Pengassan Central Committee, NEC, staff, and all members, to appreciate the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, sending the Minister of State. The Vice President was supposed to be here, but because of the National Economic Council, sending the Minister of State, the GMD of NNPC, Dr. Aliko Dangote, sending his personal representative, and all other dignitaries. Barrister Femi Falana, the Imam Abubakar, the guy that was also civilized, and everybody, members of the Central Committee, the organizing members, the security agencies, everybody for coming, for honoring us, despite the time schedule. It shows that it's not only when there are crises. We must be collaborative, we must work for ourselves. And for me, I continue to say, and I want to say that for you to have a union in any establishment, organization, industries, there must be a company in existence. So as Labour, we must continue to work to protect and defend the company we work for, so that union can thrive. We must not see management and union as enemies. We must see ourselves as partners in progress. So now coming to your main question of Pengassin 40 years, I also want to sincerely appreciate our founding fathers, past president, Owodunni, Daniel Owodunni, Austin Ezewanka, Shina Oluwoye, Brown Ogbefun, Comrade Peter Sele, Babatunde Ogun, and those that also died. Their past GS, Comrade Dabibi, Oluoshile, Narebo, and the current one, and all past and serving Central Community members. They have done a lot. For example, look at Kaduna Zonal Council. That place was built, Secretariat was built under 18 months, under the leadership of Comrade BK Ghana. So you show under 18 months, how everything to be. And even the office in Lagos, that Shino said, we have innovated it. So Pengassin 40 years is a worthy celebration that we also have done. And like the Bible says, if you invite people and nobody came to eat your food and everything, but everybody came out today, it was a glorious meal. So we have challenges, and we also look at that. In the past 40 years, our fathers have done well. And when you look at the stance of our constitution, I said the heroes of our labor's past will never be in vain. That is also what we also try to do. But we also know that Pengassin will never die in our time. And after me, there are also people who want to take over. And so we are also setting standards so that they can also look at that. This has been also handed over to them. We must also look at that. We must also hand it over to them. The next major celebration of Pengassin now is in the next 10 years. We are going to do Golden Jubilee. And by His grace, for every leader, we pray to be alive to also be part of that ceremony. But 40 years down the line, it has been ups and downs. It's not been bed of roses. I also want to say that for Labour, Pengassin, NUPEM, TUC, NLC, we were advocating during the military junta. Play a critical role in stabilizing this democracy that we presently enjoy. And I want to say that all the leaders that sacrificed should be duly honored and recognized. Because without them, there can't be no country.
Talking about the role that Pengassin played in terms of Nigeria achieving democracy, how would you rate governance in Nigeria after more than 5 decades? Are you satisfied with the way things are going in the country, especially when it comes to the oil and gas sector?
Well, you know, like a toddler, you are born, there's a period of infancy, you move up, adulthood and everything, and you keep falling, stumbling. And like the saying goes that the mark of a man is not that when you fall, how you feel dejected, but the essence of rising up and look at that. Yes, you must continue to move forward. And looking at governance, yes, there have been ups and downs in the governance of this country. And that for everybody, you criticize, it's easy to criticize. But when you are outside and when you are inside, the games are different. It's not the same thing. I can come and say, I come outside and everything. There's nobody that will not want to do good things. But when you also look at that, you came on board and you look at the challenges. Definitely you had card. But you also must also see what you can also do to impart on life. And one of the other essence is this. People talking of projects you have executed and everything. The most important is that when you also call, I think for me, I can say the area of abandoned projects has gone under this administration, because when you look at it, look at the issue of so many things that they also completed, also now going to also build up for that thing. And that is just it. So looking at governance, it cannot be perfect, but I believe and we believe that it will be perfect. You know, because you can't criticize. It's not easy to lead, but you can't criticize. The challenges are there. Nigeria is a very, very complex society. But every of our politicians, they have greater roles to play in uniting us, dividing us, and everything. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to rule over Nigerians. So by the time you are playing politics to say you want to get to power, do this, it's not too good. So those are the issues. But governance, yes, we're trying, and we can also believe that we can improve. And for every government to also succeed, every Nigerian, once there is an election, you have a government, you encounter, don't criticize. See whether you can also improve and put hands together and make sure that we do it. Just like we came on board, there are things our leaders also did. Also look at it, let's also improve on it. And those are about governance. So it's not a one-day thing, but something that's evolving, making impact, letting Nigeria know that we can also move forward.
In the oil and gas sector right now as we speak, the issue of casualization of workers is one big problem that workers in this sector are faced with. How far with Pengassan trying to mobilize, enlighten, and probably fight for these workers so that they are actually regularized?
The issue of casualization is something that is very, very sympathetic. It's not too good. And we look at it that for every one of us, we appear to be leading and not look at the interests of our members. But we also need to appeal to our employers in the oil and gas. The part of extremism is not the best. And for me, CWC under my leadership, I've said it, that as much as possible, we continue to protect and defend our members. That's jobs and everything for our members. But also doing that, we also must also look at that as NEC members and everybody, we must also be disciplined. We must also not do things that also bring the attention to discipline. For the issue of casualization, we have been doing a lot, and I also believe that the government needs to come into it. Because, you see, one dangerous thing is that when there are issues, like we are challenged by the guest speaker today, anything you want to do, look, we're also conscious of the political situation in the country. That why is there election is coming, we don't want to create tension. We don't want to be seen as if creating more tension. So for us, we are imploring every government agencies, the Prime Minister of Labour, and our worker and our employers that the issue of casualization should be addressed collectively. For example, I was telling somebody, one management, I said, now you are in charge now. 10, 15 years time, you're not going to be there. And these same members of Pengassan that you organize now, at that time, maybe some of them will be GMD or at that level. And you are no more alive or you are alive, now say your children should go there. And then you look at your antecedents, where you behave when you are there. How do you think they're going to relate to your children? They won't be happy. They will say, no, except somebody that has the fear of God, that will say, I don't need to pay an eye for an eye. So everybody must be very, very conscious of that. That you don't trample on people now, because this life, this world is very someone. So for issue of casualization, we are determined in counterparts and paying counterparts to address it. And luckily, the committee has been set up by the Ministry of Labour. And I know by the time they finish the issue of minimum wages and everything, that committee must start working. And let's see how we can close it beyond of our tenure and make sure that we add impact to our members.
Talking about workplace safety and also engaging the Ministry of Labour, how far has Pengassan gone in terms of engaging the government and employers of labour to adhere to international best practice?
Well, I can say conveniently, with all emphasis, that when you look at the oil and gas sector, the issue of workplace safety, none of our employers' organizations play safety with it. In the Chevron, the IOCs, government agencies, everything. That's why you go to any of those places, the first thing they tell you is safety first. Before you enter some of them, you must tell you safety first. They also give you evacuation procedures, because safety of life is very, very important. And when you are going to operational areas and everything, there are also safety measures that they put in place that they can't just play second fiddle to it. For example, let me tell you, you're going to refineries now. The first thing they give you a spark arrestor, put in your car. They also tell you XYZ will be put in place. You know, so that shows that for oil and gas, then driving, safe belt and everything. So that safety is very, very key. Then engaging Ministry of Labour. Definitely, you know, everything we're doing is going to be in tripartite. That's the union, the employers, and the Ministry of Labour. And in sincerity, they've been doing their best. The Ministry of Labour have been doing enormous, and also all of us. But I also believe that when there are pressing issues of job security and everything, safety is good, but the most important thing that I can also make sure that our members' jobs are secure. When we are saving their job, we look at about 5 immediate family and 15 of minimum dependents with you. So everything is taken into consideration, but for safety, we cannot compromise this in oil and gas. It's not compromised by anybody. And so we have been engaging Ministry of Labour and going to engage to make sure that things are going well.
Wrapping up this session, I would like to ask you, Pengassan of yesterday, today, and what do we expect from your leadership? What is the positioning following the lecture that you received from SAN, that's Barrister Femi Falana? What have you taken home from that lecture? What is going to be the roadmap in the next few years for your members?
Well, I also need to commend and appreciate Barrister Femi Falana, because we told him about this just 2-3 days ago. And promptly, he said, as an activist, anything Labour will be ready. And he came in this morning, and you can see the response and why that clear. And one thing he also said was that he also made reference to letters that in the past, not indicting any government. He also said that Labour must work together and see what we can do. And looking at Pengassan of yesterday, yes, our Labour, our leaders, that's why we also recognize them. They have done tremendous work in keeping this association. And the job of every leader that if you cannot exceed what your leaders have put in place, make sure you do also go down. And so we strive to also make sure we go up. You understand? And that's the joy of everything. That if Pengassan was handed over to me, it's not going to do my tenure that Pengassan will be recognized. Pengassan will be gone there, so I will not take it. So I must do everything humanly possible within my strength, within my focus, to make sure that I defend and hand over Pengassan to people taking over. Then looking at Pengassan after me tomorrow, like I said, the joy of every parent is that where we could not reach in life, our parents will reach there and surpass it. And for example, let me just go. For example, look at the president of Ife, right? The son, he was a prince. The father was a prince. He's a prince. But never in his life will I ever think that the president of Ife will ever be king in the lifetime. So that's why when he was made the king, the father was happy. Anywhere he was going with him. Because he's alive to see that his son is prospering. So for me, God giving us life, 5 years time, God give me life, I will be happy to look at it that in the issue of Pengassan, 2014 to 2020, I passed this road and I also left my legacy and footprints in the south of town. That's why we're looking at this event center, digital learning, everything. So that if we have workshops and everything, we can also utilize it. Also do that, also employ Nigerians to also run it, to work there. And for us, most of these things is not going to be run specifically by Pengassan. I can say that. Because if it's run by directly by Pengassan, it can never make sense. We're going to look at very competent people that will say, okay, every month, these are what we want, these are the standards we expect, and this is what we want to be done. So that I can show. In that case, by doing that, the programs and the learning center and everything can outlive everyone of us. And Pengassan will also be the best. And Nigeria as a nation will also be the better for it.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.